Hello and welcome back to my Advent series this year where I'm working on mixed media tags and using the Advent word 2023 prompts. Today I've chosen to look at the word begin, which arguably I should have done first. In fact, it's been pretty hard to get anything done around here since Advent began. I had a weekend out of town with my in-laws, which was lovely, but not much art happening. And since we've been back, both my children have been off school with just the usual coughs and colds, but it's just made it really difficult to do any filming. But like I said at the beginning of this, this is supposed to be low pressure. We know that life happens and we're not expecting to get every single word done and to create something every day. We're just trying to do what we can when we can with what we have. Do make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and that you've hit the little bell below. That will keep you up to date with any videos I make in this series. But also, just to say, I'm not making a video for every tag that I make. However, I am posting photographs of the other tags that you don't see here on YouTube. Photos will be posted on Instagram and on my Facebook page, and links to both of those, if you're not already a follower, can be found down below in the description. So the design of this tag is inspired by the idea of timelines, and what you see here is a rubber stamp, which is kind of like a ruler, really an old-fashioned ruler with measurements marked on it, and I'm just stamping it on a variety of different collage papers to give me some options as we go forward. I have also got in the mix, you'll see later on the right there, an IKEA paper tape measure. When you go, there it is, look, when you go to IKEA, the home store, they have these little paper tape measures to help you measure things, bits of furniture and things, and I have picked up a couple of them and I've tea-dyed them, and that's what those are. So the idea of a timeline of beginnings, endings, I'm kind of exploring through this idea of rulers and measurements. And I'm mixing in with those just other random strips of collage paper to make a kind of stripy effect. I'm doing this kind of freehand, and some of the strips are a bit wonky, and I am going to mix them all up and stick them down to create this effect. You can also totally use washi tape for this kind of design. I add a little bit of washi tape towards the end as well, but you could use all washi tape to make these kind of stripes, wonky stripes across your tag. So I was thinking about, where does the story of Jesus begin? Because we're thinking about Christmas, we're thinking about the Nativity. Does the story of Jesus begin in that stable where Jesus was born? Does it begin maybe 9 months earlier in Nazareth, when a girl called Mary gets a visit from the angel Gabriel telling her that she is going to have a baby, from that moment of conception? And the answer is, the story of Jesus starts way, way before this. In fact, the story of Jesus is as old as time. We learn in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, that in the beginning was the Word, meaning Jesus, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. So as whatever that means, I mean, who knows what the beginning means? Certainly, since the beginning of anything that we know in terms of the known universe, God and Jesus were there at the beginning. Isn't it incredible to think that that tiny baby has actually been around for millions of years? I'm just going to add a little bit more detail now with some of these clear stamps that are intended for making borders, I think, on things. I use one now that is like 2 lines of stitching, and then another one that's more like a kind of ladder. I discovered these in my stash the other day and I realised that I hadn't used them, but they're actually quite versatile and quite fun just to make little marks like I'm doing now. So you can see here with all these strips and a little bit of layering is quite a nice stripy kind of effect. It's the background for our tag. So for the main focal point on the tag, I decided I was going to create the symbols for Alpha and Omega, because Jesus says about himself in Revelation, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. And just thinking about just the contrast between that little vulnerable, time constrained baby in the stable and this massive statement um, of someone who's been around forever. And so I looked up these symbols and just drew them and cut them out of some collage paper so that I can stick them onto my tag. I'm also thinking about when Jesus says in John chapter 8, before Abraham was, I am. I mean, what a huge statement, and no wonder the Jews went mad calling him a blasphemer. Um, if you ever doubt whether Jesus claimed to be God, if you think maybe he was just a good moral teacher, this statement just blows that out of the water. He is claiming here to be some supernatural, pre-existent being, and uh, and by saying I am, aligning himself with that name for God. He's not saying that he's like God, he's not saying that he's showing people to God, he's saying very clearly, I am God. And that is the basis for our faith, that God came to earth and died in our place on the cross, was buried and rose again, like only a God could, and so invited us back into relationship with him. And that is the story that we find ourselves in. It is not our story, it is his story of redemption. We serve a purpose much higher than just our own agenda. So I'm going to add some ribbon to the top of the tag now, which is the moment where I think about the application of those Bible verses that I've been thinking about. What does this mean for me today? And I almost went for a silver ribbon there, but I decided to go for just a simple piece of jute string instead, because for me the application is just to stay humble and to remember that I'm here for his glory and not for my own. May that ever be the case. Amen. I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this tag today. Stay tuned for more Advent tags coming your way. If you're interested in learning more about art journaling, I do have an online course. Head over to my website. It's called Wild Art Deep Faith, and the link is in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.